Hi everybody, this is Paul Damon. So today what I want to talk about is the Gazette, which is where they publish the legal announcements or the new laws in Nicaragua. And on the 8th of September, they created the law 1129, which is La Ley de Correduría de Bienes Raíces de Nicaragua, which is the brokerage law for real estate here in Nicaragua. One of the things that we need to keep in mind is that this is the law and it still needs to be supported by reglamentos, the rules of how we're going to be operating. This change, I think, is significant and will be very helpful, not only for real estate agents like ourselves or brokers like ourselves, but also the sellers as well as buyers of real estate and the various ministries that operate or are going to be involved in the real estate business. Now, some people have asked me, don't you think that this is kind of meddling, or don't you think that this is less helpful and will have a negative impact on real estate? Personally, I see it the opposite, okay? I do believe there has to be some regulations in not only in Nicaragua, but other countries that we have been aware of, like El Salvador, Costa Rica has them, Panama has these type of regulations. So Central America is more ahead of us than we were. Okay, so the regulations that have been set forth, and like I said, we don't have the full rules, but we know in general where the platform is going as it relates to real estate. I'm a U.S. broker, and one of the things that they're doing, of course, they're going to allow local Nicaraguans as well as expat real estate agents to continue to operate in this business. Of course, that's fantastic. I mean, that was under Law 602. That, of course, has now been replaced by the Law 1129. So 602, which was the basis on how Ghislaine and I operated, no longer is there. It was replaced by 1129. So 1129 sets forth that you're going to have to take now classes, you need to get certified, you need to submit your credentials to MIFIC, which is the Ministry of Finance. You also will have to submit your credentials to the WAF, which has to do with money laundering, and you will be given approximately 120 days in total to do that. But that 120 days does not start until the reglamentos, the rules, are established, which will be in the next 90 days. So I would say March, April of next year that this is all going to play out, and that some agents are going to fall off because they don't want to work under a rule environment. We are going to stay. We're going to submit our credentials and keep on working in real estate. But some of the things that are important, both for the owners' listings as well as for the buyers, there are going to be rules that will protect us as real estate agents, which we really needed some more protection from the methodologies that, for example, you are working on an exclusive basis, for example, which will be allowed still, or open listings, that sometimes the owner goes behind your back with the buyer, and then we're quote unquote sitting ducks and not get paid for the work that we have done. So under this rule, it will be more difficult, and it will protect us in doing the work that we have been hired to do, and we spend the money to do that. I don't want to go into a discussion here that some agents don't do the work and therefore I can do it to that agent and not to others. That is not what the rule is going to be nowadays. Commissions have been left open, which is good. So each agent will need to come forward to the seller and identify what type of commission structure they want. We know that the beach area is totally different than Granada versus Managua versus León, Esteli, Chinandega, you name it. So every market, sub-market you might want to call it, has a different commission structure. And that is one that we have been very much adapting to as we work not only in Managua, we work in León, San Juan del Sur, Granada, and then talking about the different cities, like for example in Granada, Diriomo, Diria, Niquinomo, all those fall under Granada, which is currently at 6%. Managua, Masaya is a little bit different. They fall under 5%. Again, it's all dependent upon what you negotiate between the seller as well as the listing agent. But one of the things that is very clear that agents cannot do what I call double dip. Double dip means that I work with the owner on a commission and then I want to double the dip with the buyer, and basically tell them, oh, the owner's not paying the commission, but I'm asking you to do it. That is one thing that's going to make it a lot more difficult to do. Also, to do a price above market. So let's say the owner says, I will pay $250, and in that $250 is the commission. So now agents are going to have to be very good listeners and also understand what the owner is saying that you can do and not go out there for $280. Okay, for example, and then say, well, I got you a offer for $280. You only wanted $250. So I will allow myself to pocket that $30,000. That is, thank God, going to be taken out of that opportunity. So some agents are going to basically have to work harder to make less if they're doing what we call a double dip. They will also define now what an agent means, what is a commission, what requirements we have to do as a broker with our agents. All our agents will need to be registered with the broker under the broker's name, and the broker, a person like myself or Ghislaine, will be held accountable and responsible towards that agent and the client. Okay, and you know what? That's exactly the same way the market works, not only in the US, which is one of the largest real estate markets, but in Canada, as well as most of the Western European countries. So, people are saying, oh, this is terrible, this is terrible. I'm going, no, this is norm. This is the norm. One thing that will be very different from the norm is that if one agent does something bad, it basically is held accountable to all of the agents with the same group with that broker. Now, that is something very, very different I have never seen before. But again, when the regulations come out, we will know for sure what that all means. There's going to be a technical committee that will be reviewing everything. There will be MIFIC. There will be several other organisms, including the WAF, okay? And then they will have a representative that represents the real estate agents and its brokers. I believe that will be Canabir, which has been an entity that has been very much involved in the real estate industry for quite some time. And I do believe that they will keep a keen role in this, which is, again, positive. They're going to do more training. They're also going to require agents to, so if there's a deal above 100,000, the rule was previously that you should inform that and do all the documentations required under WAF. WAF is related to money laundering. So that now is going to be even more critical. You will have to take classes mandatorily, and you will have to also submit to analysis as well as submit your documentation. So a outside organization like MIFIC or the WAF can investigate and review your files. Again, nothing new for us because we have been always working on that, and we have a system in place where all our files are, which is Google Drive. And you don't want to keep hard papers because it's hard. Fire can basically put you out of business, and then of course papers lose its quality. So we always maintain a Google Drive document. So like I said, there's some great, I'm looking at to see if there's anything else. They're writing the rules. What is the responsibilities that I as a broker have as it relates to my clients, which is the seller or the buyer, and also what is the definition of confidentiality. And that again is something that we as members of NAR, the National Association of Realtors, work very heavily under, is the ethics of what do we do with information, okay? So if a client says, Paul, let's talk a little bit about what we should do with our prices. I would like to set the price of $250. What do you think? Yeah, that's what our market analysis came about, was around $250. We think that is a reasonable one. You know what, Paul, I kind of would like to go there, but I am willing to go down to $210, okay? Now, that is what we call a confidential piece of information. Now, I cannot turn around and go to a buyer when the buyer says, well, what do you think is the best deal I can get out of that? I cannot say, Peter, based on what you're telling me, and I know from the seller, we can drop that to $210. So let's do like $220. That will be considered an illegal act, and you can be held accountable for that, okay? There are penalties now, small penalties and big penalties. You can be booted out of the industry, or you can be taken out for a year. So they have a variety of mechanisms in place now, which is good. They didn't have it before, that a client or a customer can complain to a body that XYZ didn't do the work they were supposed to do. Now, has that happened? We know it has happened. We have heard about it. All you have to do is go on Facebook and see all the negatives that people have about real estate. So, like I said, we will follow this up. We already met with MIFIC. The second day that this document came out, we met with them just to find out, what's going on. It's better to be ahead of the curve than suddenly waking up in the morning, you go, what the hell happened? So we felt it very important to go to MIFIC, sit down, discuss a little bit about the requirements like bookkeeping needs, taxes, and everything else that relates to this, and to make sure preliminary internally were we at the same level, below the level, or above the level. We're confident that we're doing very well. At least our attorneys that were present there at the meeting, they agreed with what they know about what we're doing as well as the laws. So, no further information that I have, but I'm going to link the document right here under this video, under the descriptions. After you see the video, you can hit it and it will drop to the description where we talk a little bit. I will link this document so you all can see this document for yourself. It is in Spanish. It is in Spanish. We will be translating this, but translating a document at times not only takes time, but can create a misunderstanding. So we haven't undertaken this yet until we see the final work of this law, and the final work is the regulations. Okay, I'm hopeful that this was helpful. As always, leave your comments below, and we will certainly answer all of them. Thank you.